Hi, in this video we're going to talk about the character cache. The character cache can be very useful if you want to render the SoftBody, the nCloth, something like that, or also you want to render the fur and hair, and you also need to use the character cache. So let's make an example. In the first video of the character cache, we're going to talk about how to use the character cache along with limbic cache and then create the SoftBody and nCloth inside of your scene and render it. Let's first open our sample 79, the character limbic cache version 1, and you can see that this is a very simple scene. This is the origin agent that we already previously introduced it how to create and operate on that, and group of agents. When we place our agents, you can see that this is a simply walk, nothing special. So we want to create the SoftBody and the nCloth for this agent. But before that, we need to generate the character cache and introduce how to use that. So let's deplace our agents and open the cache tool here. The first step is create the agent cache. So let's create it and fill the path eDrive ABC. Or let's just add a subfolder agent cache, and name is the test. Oh, you can see that this is not exist. Let's click yes for generate this folder and fill the test and place our agents and make agent cache and enable that. At this time, you can see that your scenes can be played back interactively, and you can drag this time slider the back and forth without any problem. And when we open our the folder, you can see that eDrive ABC, the agent cache, has been created. The agent cache is kind of a things can cache it every frame. You can see that the first frame to the 30 frames, which is the same as the frame range inside of your scene. So this is agent cache. The agent cache is kind of cache drive your agents inside of your scene, but whereas the character cache is drive the original agent. So let's convert that from your agent cache. So you can see that the character cache folder is right here, the tab, and let's fill the folder eDrive ABC and char cache. Let's make this like this, and this is also not exist. Let's click yes for generate it, and let's click the convert agent cache to character cache. At this time, when you open the folder, you can see that the character cache has been created, and when you open that, you can see that the character cache contains the cache for each one of the character, each one of the agent. For the first agent, the second to the 10, you can see that there are 10 agents inside of your scene. So there are 10 caches here, and there's agent ID list and type list here. This is an auxiliary cache along with this. So let's just close this and introduce how to use this cache. We need to deplace our agents and switch the renderer from the viewport 2 to the traditional and the default quality, the rendering, the legacy renderer, because the viewport 2.0 for this is a little bit problem. So we need to switch to the old the renderer, and this cache is kind of responsible for drive the original agents. If you enable that and fill the character ID, for example 1, and the playback your animation, you can see that your origin agent has been driven. And if you fill, for example 5, the 5th agent has been driven, and this is a kind of a character cache which can drive the origin agent. Since the origin agent can be driven by this, and if there are some of the nCloth or the SoftBody master system onto this origin agent, this is a Maya geometry, we can export the one by one through the first agent to the last, through the origin agent export the render content one by one of the agent to the hard disk, and then import that back and render it. So let's do that with the nCloth and the SoftBody. And let's open our next example, the sample 79, the character cache Limbic 2. Let's open that. And we're going to use the character cache to export the SoftBody and nCloth to the hard disk and then render it. So you can see that this thing is very simple. With the nCloth and a head which we created, and also the nCloth, but we simulate that as a SoftBody. So let's first try to hide the bone and hide the physical joints of the origin agent. And let's run the simulation and see what will happen. It's in the interactive playback mode. Select the root bone, and when we move that, you can see that the head is like the SoftBody, and there's a coke which is nCloth, and we created that in the with the nCloth and the input attract the attribute here. You can see that we bind the head and the two cloak onto this agent, the origin agent, and also we control this by this input mesh attract. We set that to 1, and then paint some of the attribute through this painter tool in the input attract. You can see that we make these parts and we make these points deformed by the origin agent, and the rest of them is simulated by the nuclear system. This is also for the head, the nCloth. You can see that the input attract. You can see that the neck, the hand, all of them is controlled by the skin cluster, and the dark, the place, we control it by the nuclear system. So this can simulate SoftBody's result. So hit Q for quit this. And let's first make the agent cache, repeat the previous step, and then make it everything faster. This is agent cache, and this is folder, and place our agents, and agent make it agent cache. Oh, I'm sorry, we needed to first specify the frame. This is 30, and make it and enable it so that you can see that it can be interactive playback, and then convert this to the character cache and enable the character cache. Deplace our agents and specify the character ID, for example, first. And when we click this to the first frame and the playback the simulation, you can see that everything is cool. This is the simulation result for the first agent, and we just needed to make a loop and export the free part, the head and the nCloth, two nCloths, and for each one of origin agent, and then import them back so we can render that. So let's do that. And the first we needed to specify the star agent ID, for example, for the first to the 10, and then we need to specify the export folder, E drive, drive ABC means the Limbic cache, and the name should be the test, for example. And the one thing most important, we needed to select the things we needed to export. For example, the free part we want to export the Limbic, we needed to select the 3 of them. This is very important. So when you select them and make sure everything is set up correctly, and we just needed to change the export mode to the Limbic and hit export. Do you want to export folder to this? Okay, because this folder is not exist, we needed to create it and then confirm everything for the selection and for the frame range and the agent ID range, and click continue. You can see that for each one of origin agent, it will try to export the selected object inside of your scene. So this is a work with the character cache. So you can export the render element of your agent for any usage. For example, Marshall, the SoftBody, and the nCloth. Everything is correct. So it will export one by one. This process is relatively slow, but it's pretty easy. Okay, the last one. And when this finished, let's disable this and click the deplace. You can see that our agent resumed back to the origin. And then we just leave everything unchanged and simply click the import. You can see that some of the part has been imported, and then when we play back the simulation, they are all the simulation results we previously created. And at this time you can see that your nCloth of the origin agent and the body part is useless. At this time you can delete them, and you can render your scene with your agents, and along with this the limbic cache part along with them, and render with the regular measure we previously introduced it. That should be okay. Okay, this is an introduction for the character cache. Work with the limbic and this nCloth and SoftBody. And in the next video, we're going to introduce how to work with the character cache and fur and hair simulation and render. Thank you for watching. See you next time.